Hello everyone. We will be your host today. I'm Daniel, also known as Jester, and this is Ramblem, also known as Jackson.
It's
And
nice to be
today
here.
we have, yeah, nice to have you. We have a very fun game for today. This is NECC Overwatch Division 5. The winner of this game will be making playoffs, guaranteed, and then the loser will have to, well, if Widener loses, they still make it. If we lose, it becomes up to chance, and if we win, we take Widener's third seed from them. So yeah, what are you looking forward to tonight, Jackson?
I'm looking forward to seeing a game with a lot of stakes. I mean, like you said, Western has a lot riding on this one. If they do not win this game, it is really up to the roll of the dice, and it's up to teams that aren't them. And as a person who played on a team before, it always sucks to have your fate in the hands of another person. So I'm sure Weston would really, really love to be able to lock this one down, finish it out cleanly, and get it done quick.
Yeah, I agree. I think if I'm Western, I don't want U Ottawa versus University of Michigan being the deciding factor whether we make the playoffs or not. And I'm very interested to see how this game's going to go in comparison to Queens because we do have some roster changes with who's able to make and whatnot. And I'm thinking we're gonna come out a little bit stronger than compared to that Queen series.
Yeah, and what I'm hearing is that the first map is going to be Lijiang here rolling into this first map, and it's going to be a
Ooh,
first to three series. So I'm going to see a lot of opportunity, hopefully, for some back and forth between these teams. But like you said, I really do hope Western can clinch it out. But what I really want, even more than that, is just a good game.
yeah. I mean, Lijiang, definitely a people's favorite, I think, of the control maps. That and Ilios are two of the really more popular ones. What comps do you expect people to pull out here on Lijiang?
Lijiang is a map that you can do a lot of different things on, and it's one of those maps that each sub map of the map has a lot of different strengths and comps. So yeah, I'd like to see some dive here, some brawl here, but anyway, let's get it rolling.
Yes, sir. Alrighty. So we're starting to kick off, and it looks like Western will be pulling out with a dive comp, which is to be expected because that is what we do practice for this point.
That's where I'm seeing them flash, but I'm interested to see if Widener adopts a different style because Garden of the three maps is a map that you can really pull a lot of different things on. I feel like Night Market is a lot more brawl focused and Control Center
Hmm.
is a lot more also brawl focused, but I feel like this
Yeah.
map you can get a lot more stuff done on a sort of Winston dive setup, which looks like what we're about
Ooh.
to see right here.
Yeah, this is gonna be interesting. So before we start, what do you think is gonna happen first fight? How do you think each team should play this, and what do you think the result's gonna be?
I think looking at Widener's comp, running the sort of meta strategy, what they're really going to be betting on is the ability for their Orisa to just live forever. And I think that the success of Western will be fully determined by their ability to cut through the noise and get at those players who aren't the Orisa who can live forever. And as we head into this first, we're looking at the Sim TPs out.
TPs to get a bit further. Oh, and then a TP to point. Dude, looking at point. Orisa playing far back, Widener taking their time. This is what we expected to see from them. A nice little bunker here. Now how does Western break through? Just some more casual poke here. And there's the dive. Big anti-nade. Do finds one, do finds two, and Sim goes off the map. That was
And this is
probably a boop.
exactly what I was talking about, Daniel. The ability for the Western team to cut through the noise of their offensive brawl-focused setup, where they're bunkering on point and they're betting on their Orisa's ability to just cycle their cooldowns and live forever, can be cut through by a well-placed anti-nade, and that's what we really like to see here. Now, you see Widener moving over to the brig. I like that a lot into Western's comp, as it allows them to really take a more defensive position from their sports against the Tracer Genji setup. But we're going to see how Western's able to adapt to that change.
Yeah, I wonder if Widener will also make a change. Oh, another anti-nade into the dive!
Another!
Winston finds one, Winston finds two! And now Western is focused on trading those kills. This should be a fight win for them. And
Fool me once,
just the
blame
Orisa.
on you.
Yeah.
Can't
Fool
get
me
fooled
twice, blame on me, I guess. Yeah, that's a second fight win for Western. Carbon copy of the first fight there.
And Widener's really, really going to be struggling on this one, because if you look at the ult bank that these teams are setting up, it's not like, even with the offensive toolkit that Widener's establishing here, the beat buildup from Red Team, from our Western Wyverns, is not going to be able to is gonna disable all of that.
The early blade comes in, early nano blade, and just like that, Sam and Brig are cut, and it's over. The fight's over. It's just picking up the stagger kills. Very good play.
Playing this perfectly. They're going just as the rotates are coming through, such that the team whose goal it is to find a bunker and find this defensive position that can't be cut through can't find that position. So they're being cut right through. Those nades are coming through in places where their team is vulnerable to them.
Yeah, very good. Oh. Very clean play from Western. I think
excellent. Really excellent. But now going into this fight, I think Widener's ults are going to allow them to at least win one, which is fine for Western. Looking at the oh my god!
The group comes out. Nano is sent, and just like that, Widener fighting for their lives.
Once again, hitting them on the rotate, not allowing them to get an offensive play going at
Everybody's
all.
Off the map. I don't know what's going on anymore.
What is happening? I'm so confused. And another nade on the Arista is going to move. This is cleaned up pretty quickly.
That's first point, unless Widener pulls. Nope, I think that was a failed rollout there. And there's another group. Okay, so to recap what happened there, Tracer hit Pulse Bomb on the floor, getting into Widener's heads, because I'm sure they heard that from around their spawn doors, which is where a lot of them were at the time. And then, as they come across the bridge this time, they forget that rotating right white can be better because they're not worried about the Lucio boop. And as we know, like personally, Fastest Facts, a very big fan of his boops and Reddit playstyle, if it's like enabled like that. And we see Ana go down early, and just like that, Widener's left like scratching their heads. Like they commit the nano, but at that point you're down one, and you're fighting an awkward fight because your players are pretty spread out into the dive, and you're down your only like form of sustain. So. Yeah.
Going into this first fight, I'm really worried for Widener's strategy. Opting for the mirror against a team that's rolling that comp generally, and it's not even gonna be a mirror because Western is gonna go for the comp that fits this map best. Like I was saying earlier, this is through and through a brawl map. Even if you get like torn to bits by Winston comp, adopting to mirror the Winston comp on a non-Winston map is just like asking to be torn open. I don't know.
Yeah. And
it's admitting defeat in map 1.
It is. Widener hitting the panic button here. What do they do here, Jackson? They come out.
I'd like to see them absolutely just switch right back. Yeah.
Okay. I think that is necessary here. I don't think that comp makes any moves into what Western is currently running. But now looking way better. So Schmoopel finds Brandnosaur.
Yeah, I think taking the early pick there is really good because it allows Widener to take those offensive side angles. I think the advantage of Widener's comp compared to Western's comp is that they have the ability to set up one of their DPS and their Juno on a side angle such that they can control so much space. Western's comp takes so much advantage from playing very, very short and very, very close. But into a Hanzo and a Juno and an Ana, that becomes significantly more difficult. So I'm interested to see how they deal with that.
Indeed, and just like that, we have trades coming out. Du finds Vestige, but Schmoopel trades, and Schmoopel finds 2, as Du was antied and just used all of his cooldowns and then died, which is like expected in that scenario. Looking very rough for Western here to start.
What I don't like about that fight is it went for so long. Like, once they flip the point, really what is there to do once you're Western? Once they have that point presence, once they have those angles that I was talking about earlier, and once they have the point, continuing to fight that is just asking for them to bleed pressure, and this is why you're seeing Widener to take double the time.
Yeah, and just like that, Fastest Facts on the outside angle manages to find Schmoopel somehow. And there, we trade supports. Ana is down.
Oh, trade supports 91% with heat. It's tough for Western.
It is, but Widener is still, it's a 4v3 until Hanzo comes back, and just like that, Western keeps up the advantage.
Like I said, with the taking of the point. Once Western takes that point and establishes their map presence, Widener runs it back. Even without a Lucio, Western's in a really good position for this next fight, especially with the ults that they're building up here.
What ults do you expect Western to use here?
I'm expecting Western, if they're playing on their best behavior, to go for an early blade to get Widener's ults out. But it looks like it's going to be a Tyre accomplishing the same situation.
Yes, let's see if Tyre can find a new one. It goes deep, and I don't think it did. Xiong can find Schmoopel, and Ultra's coming out left, right, and left. And
the beat comes out far too late. Far too late.
Yeah. That is a 60% for Western, and now it's just, will Blade Terra get more value, or will Dragon's Terra get more value here?
It's not a terrible trade for Western, given that they use Juno ult, and Widener used Juno ult, and that is their win button, and now they don't have it. But the ult trade is still pretty fair, and it's looking so close.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see what happens this fight, and whether Western opts to pop Terra first or go for the Blade. And I'm also I'm interested to see how much space Widener gives them with his dragons before they decide to invest it. So, taking the offense, investing the Blade. Nano, they farm Nano before popping Blade. Beautiful, finds Ana, looks for Juno. Juno gets away, but still gets caught. Xianghun finds Schmoopel as well, and Arisa's just left to back up. And they invested Terra Surge and Dragons on the side of Widener.
So much investment.
Yeah. This is looking very winnable for Western.
Just seems like a failure of ult tracking on the side of Widener. I think playing your DPS next to your supports would have yielded much better results into that Genji.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. I think in their defense, their Ana figured that they would have Nano first because they did use it after Western did on the original fight.
This could be the case. Going into this next fight, I'd like to see what they do with this Nano.
Yeah, poking in a corner. Almost farming up a tire. Oh, big anti. Do they look for anything? Justin on 1 HP. Justin gets caught. And just like that, Western is walking on them to take the first map.
It doesn't seem like Widener is getting that many opportunities to go first. It feels like every time on their approach, Western is going on the aggressive and making it such that they can't find the space that they need to win.
Yeah, and just like that, Western takes first map 2-0 on Lijiang Tower. Well played.
Absolutely clinical. The pace that Western is playing into Widener is something I don't think Widener on this map is able to match. But I'd like to see how they fare on a more like equitable dive setup. And that's why I'm looking for going into this next map pick, is I'm looking for Widener to pick a map that will allow them to play a comp that can go faster, that doesn't require these setups that Western can tear apart like they did on Lijiang.
Yeah, I think with the way NECC is, any map type could be picked. So what map would you think that Widener wants the most for this comp that you're hoping they pull out?
I would love to see them pick a map type that has an equal number of dive maps as it does Brawl or other maps, because if you get that map out early, you'll be much more able to play the game your way, as opposed to picking a map that you can play multiple different comps on, or a mode that you can pick multiple different comps on, like Push. I feel like going for a hybrid here and picking a dive-focused hybrid map would focus them on the path that they need to be on a lot better.
Yeah, okay, yeah. No, I think I agree. What do you think Widener's confidence is in their own comps? Because in that map, we saw Widener come out on the Orisa on, Garden, which can be like, you can play whatever you want with Garden. And then we saw them lose confidence in that composition as we got to Control Tower, which is, the point you'd think they'd be more confident in taking an Orisa Brawl. So what do you think their confidence level is with their comps here?
I think they'd made the swap that was necessary. I think that if they had mirrored the Winston, if there had been a mirror on both ends on Control Center, it would have been a throw equally on both teams. So if it is a super dive heavy setup, I think that if it's a super heavy Brawl map, then I think it's totally cool if they mirror the dive. But
yeah, very very interested to see what map they end up picking here. Oh,
did I hear that right, Daniel?
I think you might have. I think you should,
tell
the people. Yes, you did.
King's Row. Okay, so I think King's Row is a fine map pick. I think it's a pretty default map pick for most teams. I think it's the map that a lot of teams practice a lot. I think it's a map that a lot of teams have their own styles on. I think it's a map that you can't really cut off the rotations as easily as you would be able to on a dive focused map. So I think that is the one advantage of Widener picking a Brawl heavy map as opposed to something like a Numbani or something like a Gibraltar, is you're not if your issue is being like tackled while you're going on that aggressive push or while you're rotating your team around on your Brawl setup, then picking a map that's extremely linear like King's Row makes a lot of sense.
I agree. And I also do think we're going to get an Orisa mirror here, because that is also what we do play on King's Row. So Widener will get what they're hoping for, and they won't really be as exploited as much in this map with the dive, like you were saying.
Let's see it.
Yeah. Alrighty. So Shiba hovered the Widow there. That's just to send false signals, because
I think they should lock it. I think that would be really smart.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think she's got it in there. Yep.
I will be interested to see if Western locks the Widow to start, though, as they take their aggressive push out on attack first.
I will say we do tend to do that. Xianghun very comfortable on the Widow, and we are a fan of like taking it for a few seconds to see if we can find a pick before going in.
And I feel like that's
once again,
default for a lot of teams. We're gonna see.
Yeah.
Because it
Ooh.
looks like no so far.
Yeah, gonna stick to the cats here. Honestly, very fair. It's like, I don't know. I don't want to say it's like safer because like taking Widow early isn't exactly not safe, but I guess it's faster. Oh, but the Widow does come. We might see an attempt at a pick here from Brandnosaur.
Excited to see who they can get that off on, because I think really the only target based on the positioning that they're getting set up as would be the Juno, but I don't think they're setting up that way. I think they're setting up at a more bunkery style, which makes a lot of sense given the Torb. But it's going to be interesting to see how the like more brawl-centered Lucio and the Junkrat are going to have to deal with this. Going to be able to handle this high ground pressure.
So the entirety of Widener playing high ground. Javelin finds the hit on a half HP. Definitely back in the second there. The turret, I've never seen that play. That's actually pretty bold. Cut it, hitting into the rotation here. The entirety of Western makes it, and they find Vestige!
Early, so early. This is the problem with taking that super high ground, super small space situation into a character like Junkrat that can just spam you out, especially with an offensive placement.
And the rotation, they're hitting him from the back. What? Anyway, Shiva, Vestige comes back out of spawn to find Xianghyun, but by that time it is too late. Western there, going for the rotation, dropping, half the team dropped like early, like point side, and the other half dropped from the back, which pincered Widener, but also by then it was too late, because Widener's Ana, I think, was the first one to get found on the drop.
I think Widener are playing super scared here. I think taking the high ground angle, taking that super defensive position is totally fine until they walk at you, at which point you need a solution to that. And that I'm hoping that they play close here, because with the Orisa's ability to hold that first choke is really super oppressive. And I think if they cement that Torb with the Orisa on this choke, I think they can get a lot done.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. I think Western's going to have to make some sort of rotation, possibly with the Junkrat to force Widener out. Orisa did use gold early, but she has it back by now, and Western did find like themselves getting picked. So maybe Western windows this corner and walks with it, and that's how they break through this choke.
I think that's a great idea. Especially now that the turret's gone, I think they can all just kind of walk with Amp and Wall. And
yeah, there it is. There's the window.
There we go.
Widener
and then first choke already broken, and Juno dead again.
Holy! Oh my goodness! The 3K. Well done. And just
the ability for Western to go first is winning them so many of these engages. Take those offensive angles, which I think is what's the best thing to do with the Lucio comp. Like, I think if you're going to run the Lucio, if you're not going to run the meta comp, if you're not going to run the Juno, I think the benefit of the Lucio is the ability to get your team in and out fast and do it before the enemy team has time to react. And that's what I'm seeing here so far.
Yeah, and especially when you think about how the early fights have played out. The first fight, Juno got picked first, so Widener
that being said,
like,
the ult bank.
Rotation power. Indeed. So multi-core pops here. Tire! Taken out of the equation. Nano invested. Oh, ults out the wazoo.
That's
Orisa,
3 ults.
Nanoterra.
That's 3 for 2. 3 for 1.5, I guess you could say, because window wasn't even used that fight. It was used the fight prior. So I don't love the ult trade, but I think it was a necessary ult trade, given the position that Widener were in.
You know, I'd have to agree. They're coming off on the back foot there, and they say, we're going to burn 3 ults, and we're going to do it, but we're going to take this...
And crucially, Daniel, they didn't burn Juno. I think that's what's going to allow Widener to have a position to be able to win this fight. I think they absolutely can win this next 1 or even 2 fights if they just get a good Juno ult. And we're
Noon invested here from Xianghyun. Juno ult pops! Juno gets caught by the Noon! Lucio is on Torb. Parasurge is also invested. And just like that, Western takes this fight.
No dice for Widener. No dice.
Yeah. Wow. That is unfortunate for the Juno getting caught right after popping ultimate. Maybe she wasn't aware of where the capacity was when he popped that Noon.
Quite possible. But I think on third point, it actually is quite more beneficial for Widener because there's not much room for the Lucio to get value here. There's not much ability for rotations to come in. There's not much ability for their team to run at Widener. It's a much more defensive setup here.
Yeah, I think Western will be more utilizing the Lucio as like a dive DPS to play along with. Oh, they beat in! Western beating in! Looking to find some value for this beat. Widener pops Noon! He's still up! Oh, and Justin finds Brandnosaur. The Torb going crazy down main. Gets Javelin. Finds the Torb. Drew finds the Torb. Fastest Facts finds the Cassidy, and all of a sudden, this is looking like a potential lost fight for Widener. What is going on? Junghoon
Such a
Justin.
fascinating fight.
And Vestige is caught by Fastest Facts. And now Widener has to recontest into the window with a fast higher and a fast noon. When will this be popped? Fastest Facts goes down. They invest Nano. They're trying to touch. Vestige gets caught. Nano, noon is popped. Ana goes down. Justin on point, holding the ground, but he too gets caught by Tire, and Western caps with 3 minutes and 21 seconds.
I know we've been kind of glazing Western this entire point, just based on the performances that we've been seeing, but really that was not Western's fight win. I feel like that was Widener's fight loss. Once that beat comes out and they run at nothing, once that beat comes out and there's no specific call about who they're running at, there's no target that they run out as 5 with that beat, there's no one that they run down, there's no map pressure that's given other than the pressure of the beat itself. So once that beat fades, that's Widener's fight to win. And yet we just see over and over again these picks coming through in the neutral after the beat. There is no advantage for Western in that fight, and they still win it.
Yeah, that also has me like rubbing my chin because Widener actually found the first pick in that fight, and then they go on to get traded like 4-1.
Okay, I think bringing the Zarya out here makes a lot of sense as far as conventional wisdom goes on the counter, but I don't love these DPS picks. I would love if they switched one of these Hiscan to something like a Venture or something like a Genji or some kind of DPS that they can send in to deal with this Junkrat, because as is, there's nothing that can challenge the Junkrat in short space, which caused them so much trouble in first round.
Yeah, maybe Widener is just thinking Junkrat will farm Zarya bubbles and he'll be able to walk through the Orisa. Oh, yeah.
Sojourn, once again, it makes more sense because you're able to claim space a little better, but you still don't have the burst required to take that Junkrat on in the head-to-head.
Yeah, and also, how is Zarya just gonna burn bubbles on herself? I don't see a DPS character that can really like eat bubbles for Zarya here. Okay, there's one bubble from Zarya. Brandon Sword just spamming, you know, usual Junkrat. The entirety Western taking this high ground. Let's see if it fares better for them than it did for Widener.
Getting poked out so much already. You're already seeing the Sojourn's ult charge going through the roof, just off the ability for them to poke with their E and with their right clicks into the enemy team.
Yeah. Oh! Justin collapsed on. Western dropping, finding Schmoopel, and Widener just torn to pieces there.
This is why I don't love this comp. Sorry.
Yeah, no. I was just gonna say, everything seems to be going okay for Widener, and all of a sudden Western just says Zar last bubble and is collapsed on her, and then she's just dead. Okay, Widener making a key swap here.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense, but I also think it still has the same issue that I was going to mention earlier. That is, the Zarya has 2 cooldowns that allow her to go in. 2 cooldowns until she is completely useless, and everyone else on her team wants to go slow. The Zarya needs to go in, needs to get aggressive, needs to get in the Orisa's face like we're seeing right now, but the DPS can't follow.
Yeah, and Western collapses on the backline. Widener unable to answer this aggression.
Widener, through their mixed setup where one player wants to go super fast and wants to get aggressive and wants to get in the enemy's face and everyone else wants to play slow, allow for the exact same thing we saw on Lijiang, where Western can go in mid-rotate and catch whoever they want to. They can just run at them. There isn't enough room for the Zarya to get the energy that they need and the offensive pressure that they need and the map pressure that they need to do anything.
Yeah, and we're just seeing the results here, but now we're starting to get into fights that involve ultimates, and it's entirely
That's promising, though. That is promising.
Widener finds Sunghun early. This is looking very good for them. They drop, giving up the high ground control here.
I think in the ult trade, I think I actually prefer Widener setup. If they can just build those ults. Just kidding. It's not happening. Go next.
Okay, so Western finds Justin, trades out Brandosaur, but once again, Western is just winning this fight. Bob gets invested by Widener. Is it enough? It might be. Orisa fighting for her life on the corner, and it doesn't actually amount to anything. So that is very awkward for Widener, wouldn't you say?
The Bob is kind of tragic, but it's not the ult that they need to win this fight. It's crucial that, like, if there was one ult that they were going to give up randomly, that's not one of the worst ones to give up randomly. I think going into this fight with the Sojourn ult and with the Juno ult and with the grab, they're in a pretty good position to win this.
Yeah, I'd have to agree too. It's not the best ult they have, it's not the worst, and it's not the one you cry about the most if you happen to have it.
I
not
love this
contribute the
rotate.
most.
this is really
Yes,
strong.
yes.
If they can catch the Junkrat, if they can get their
Zarya looking
Sojourn on an
there's
angle.
gold invested. No gold, no cooldowns for Zarya either though. Zarya forced on the high ground. Junkrat holding the space so well. Sojourn invested. Zarya gets found by Deadeye. He
Ow!
is committed. And just like that,
Okay, the tank trade is good. The tank trade is good. I like to see this. And they still have Juno. This is
Bap
so
won.
winnable. So
Bap-
winnable.
Juno ult invested, and it's just really Junkrat fighting for his life.
Excellent. Okay. I love to see that from Widener. That's really excellent. They ended up using the majority of their ults, but they didn't use all of them, which is crucial leading into this next fight where Western has Window and they have Tire. Those are excellent tools for breaking the choke, but you know what they're not great at? Breaking grab.
Yeah. As long as Widener communicates IMO, and even if they don't, I don't think one IMO is gonna shut down their grab. So I think as long as Tire doesn't absolutely destroy them, they're looking pretty strong here for this second point. Zarya just spamming down choke, investing
Bubbles
her
being
last
used
bubble.
early, yes.
Indeed.
But not with 90 energy, that's okay. You watch for a spear spin and then you go.
Yeah, looking for the grab. Trying to sniff it out here. To see if it's worth investing. Bob once again invest.
And they don't even need it. This is so good for Widener.
Yeah, finding their way past that choke, which is honestly the hardest part for them on the second point with the Junkrat present. And just like that, Widener clean sweep for this fight here.
And they maintain the grab. They trade 1 for 1.
Yeah, the Tire. Where was the Tire from Western?
And crucially, Western wasn't allowed a long enough fight to be able to charge beat enough that they'll have it for this grab. They still have grab, and there's no beat for it. They still have grab, and they can cut through whatever else Western decides to use, as long as they play aggressive and their supports can look at them. And especially as they build up to this window. There's Zarya can int.
There's
and
grab.
Look, we see it.
Oh, Zarya grabs the Orisa, gold's out, but still manages to find the cast. Oh, but Brandiswar finds Shmoople.
The trade is found, and
Shiva
there's no
finds
bap.
one magic mind. Drew finds Justin, and just like that, Western's winning this team fight. Oh, Junkrat gets traded out, and Hanako dies to trap.
Some hero plays for the Juno there, but what matters leading into this next fight, no matter how much they try, they cannot break the Juno ult. The Juno ult is the key here. They still won't have beat for it if they go quick. They will have Orisa ult, which is fine. And there's so much healing tools for Widener to be able to break this choke and break this team. They just need to go fast unless their Soj gets caught by a Lucio GG.
Yeah, that is not what you want to see. One more team fight for Widener after that pick. So, will Widener successfully kite the noon this time, or will it once more prove too much of a pain for their Juno ult? And just like that, Zarya's both full charge for both bubbles.
Should be inting in. Speed ring go now.
This is what you want to see if you're Widener. Zarya's full charge heading into the last fight, and you have Juno ult. Oh! Bap gets caught! Where's Bap? What is happening?
Where is my
Zarya?
Zarya?
Zarya goes for this rotation, and her team just gets caught in the process. And just like that, Widener has 18 seconds to touch with 3 members alive. Noon was invested there. But now they're walking into a beat, they're walking into a window, they're walking into a chair search, and they're gonna be walking into a Tire. Western going in, just monkeying them. And just like that, that looks to be this map. Yeah,
Once
Western.
again, I feel like what we're seeing, like I said earlier, this is not Western's game that's being won. This is Widener's game that's being lost. So much failure to go first. And on Western's side, they could be winning it cleaner too.
Yeah, that is a very interesting rotation there at the end. You know it's final fight, you're 100 charge, and you're opting to walk around up the stairs. I'm not sure exactly what that was going for. Like, was that a flank onto the back line of Western?
Definitely
like
to get onto the cast. I think that made sense in their head, but with the pressure that they needed and the ult track that I don't know if they did. The Zarya really needed to be on Western's backline there as opposed to on their flank.
It definitely needed to be present, or else they just get ran into and ran down, like what we just saw happen before. So Widener in a good position for that last fight, and unfortunately they made a few mistakes, got picked a couple times, and just like that, they were found like running for their lives to get the cart, and they're just intercepted by Western's ultimate advantage.
Somehow, some way. I said it wouldn't be possible on this map, but Western is finding a way to cut the rotations in the neutral. On a linear map, it only goes one way. I don't know.
Yeah, they just walked on him. You know, Lucio Perma slight speed buff as long as
That is the benefit of the
amp not
Lucio
needed.
there.
Yeah, I like
As
I
much as
like
I
to
think
see
Juno's meta.
how that happens. But yeah, I fear it's just Zarya maybe walked a bit too early. Maybe that was also the issue. Maybe they were planning to walk like as a group, and that just didn't end up happening. But Western does find them in the rotate, and it's just the core, like the squishies that were left behind, and they just get eaten alive there.
And just as coming into this third map, Widener needs to find a solution to getting cut off in the neutral. I think there are a
Yes.
couple ways they could do this. I think going to push would make a lot of sense. I think going to flashpoint would make a lot of
Mhm.
sense. There's not much ways you can do that. I feel like going to push makes a lot of sense, and I feel like
Oh.
that's what we're going to be going for in a linear map like that. Like I said, that's King's Row, but it's also push,
Yeah.
and I feel like that makes a lot of sense for Widener's setup. Getting cut off in the neutral is not something that really happens on those maps unless they go for Runa Soppy. There's not much ways to get around a push map such that you can cut them off, and it looks like it's not going to be Runa Soppy. It looks like it's going to be
Ooh.
Coliseum, which makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So do you like Coliseum more or less for being jump on the back line? Because there is that high ground coming up to first point cap that is very oppressive and has been throughout like the time of Coliseum's existence. So do you think that Widener is like more worried about that high ground, like looking at the track record of what's happened so far in the series?
No, and I'll tell you why. I feel like Widener's solution here, I feel like the reason why they picked this map is because Coliseum, that high ground, and that main choke are very good for long range characters. I feel like the play to go for the double hit scan on King's Row points to a general discomfort with flex DPS in Widener's strategy. And I think going to a map that favors those long range characters, those high grounds that you can position yourself on, and that linear setup that you can just snipe from long range and not interact with the Junkrat, hopefully at all, makes a lot of
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, I would say that that's spot on. I do think that they'll be met with a surprise because we do not opt for Junkrat on this map. We do favor at least one dive DPS, so that might hurt their expectations there. But I do think like everything you said is 100% right. I feel like Coliseum is definitely one of the better map picks they could have made for push, and it's also possible it's their most comfortable push map. We don't really know much about them, so maybe they've practiced something pretty hard, and it will come to fruition into Western's comp.
I sure hope so. Based on the way this game is going, they're going to need it.
Yeah, that'll be a lot of fun to see. So yeah, what so Brandisor, very big Genji fan, and Xianghun, a very firm Tracer believer. Do you think Tracer Genji would be valid on this map?
I think it could make sense, but it's going to be up to how they position into this double hit scan comp that I expect to come out. That's what we're going to be looking for as we head into this map. Let's see it.
Yeah. Alrighty, Far Merge Valley reference. Love to see it. Very fun Discord game if you
I
haven't
don't get
tried it
that
out.
reference.
It's a Discord activity
I'm too
game.
old. I tapped out of Discord when they added games. I'm too old for
Yeah.
that. Back in my day, they added I don't know, they added Nitro or something. It was a
Yeah,
long time ago.
that was it.
I'm too. You know, at a certain point, you just forget to like keep up with updates. It
Yeah.
just like 2 seconds pass in your brain, and they added 600 million things. I feel like an old lady checking Facebook and seeing reels.
So true. That was me when I saw like the shop inside of Discord. I was like, what is this for? And then avatar portraits and all that. But yeah, we're seeing ooh, the mole come out. What do you think about that?
The mole makes a lot of sense. I feel like both teams are playing kind of the same strategy where you're baiting your tank in and you're using the chaos of your tank to allow for one of your flex DPS to go crazy. I'm really excited to see this Genji come out because we haven't seen much flex DPS coming out from Widener, and I'm interested to see what they can do with it.
Yeah, I also think Genji very good into Western's comp here. With how the Lucio typically plays on our team, the Baptiste won't have that much peel, so Genji has pretty decent odds here if they can force out Immo early and just collapse.
I think crucially for Widener, the poke that they provide on this comp is just so much superior. Even though Western has the Orisa, which lays down a lot of pressure, the pressure provided by the Soldier and the Ana in this setup is going to allow for a lot to happen.
Ooh! Brandisor finds Genji.
This is the strength of the Venture.
It
Being
is.
able to go in, cause chaos, and catch one early.
Yeah, Soldier lead for Lucio. Venture living on one. Good ammo there. And Soldier's caught in a kind of awkward position here. Does he get bubbled? He just gets found.
He does not.
And just like that, Zarya's being run down as well. Widener getting pushed over. Oh, and Schmoopel is on the Zarya, and Justin's on the Soldier. A roll swap
interesting.
from Widener.
I wonder what caused that. Interesting. Okay, moving into this next fight, I feel like the D.Va makes a lot of sense in some ways. It allows for a little more peel, which I feel like has been kind of the play for Widener. They've played a lot to peel with their tank, which I feel like causes a lot of struggles for them, but I feel like if that's their game plan and that's what they've practiced, I feel like going a tank who makes a lot of sense to be peeling as opposed to something like a Zarya, something like Orisa makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, Hanako finds Youngman on the Tracer.
And the nade finding the Venture. How
Very
does that
big
happen?
nade. And they also contest before Western gets that close spawn checkpoint.
Or getting the checkpoint is crucial here. So important on push.
Yeah, oh,
Yeah,
D.Va's
to cut off
D-Mech
that
though.
early
She will have
spawn.
mech though.
The
She will have
D-Mech,
mech.
the 75 to D-Mech, that's
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
They
she'll
can
have it.
manage
She'll
that.
have
It's not going to be a fried wiener situation.
Yeah.
And moving into this fight, the ult bank for Widener is so good.
That is, yeah, that's ult bank for Widener looking very strong. Oh, but so
Ew!
the Juno early, and Soldier's 1 HP. Does he find the Soldier?
This is what I was expecting to see coming out from Widener, and it's coming out from Western.
Lucio goes down. Brandiswar finds Diana. Orisa inside of the Soldier, and they're on D.Va. And Hanakawa is trying to do some magic work back here, but I don't think he has enough time to be able to collect the. Oh!
Yeah, these early long-range picks down mid and on these oppressive high grounds is what I expected to see from Widener. But it's really Western pulling that strategy out, just as I said.
Yeah, the Widow coming out of left field. I did not expect to see this here, but I am kind of liking it.
Oh! Again, this Juno getting
Widener hitting the jump button a bit too much.
Ended early,
Yeah.
over and over again.
Tracer no re.
The other crucial aspect about the
Big
D.Va
nano
is a
here.
loss.
Oh,
the
Ajax!
Ajax! Forget what I was gonna say. We're gonna be
Every
talking about
game.
that for about 10 more minutes. Forget whatever
Oh
analysis
my
I had. We're gonna be talking about that guy for a good
That
minute
is
here.
facts, living up to 1 Ajax per game here. Love
Has
to
to
see
be.
it. Sees the D.Va in his mouth because he's all the way up there for some reason, face tanking it all to the chin.
Regardless
and then
of
he
the
decides.
Ajax, I feel like this take for Widener is not as secure as they thought.
Yeah,
Looks about even based on the picks that have come out, even with an early Ajax.
I would have to agree. Oh, wow. Fast as Ajax.
No
Tell the
one
engine.
can hide from my sight.
And here we are, popping sights early.
Looking
You
for
wanna
that
see
Juno again,
Widow.
wants that Juno early again. Getting greedy.
Yes. Tracer being forced off the card here. Oh, there's the Juno wall. Window is traded. Oh, Ventral top in the back line. But it's just entirely
Thanks
kited.
to the D.Va, the peel, like I was saying.
Yup.
Not as easy.
Oh my
But
goodness.
Fast was facts with 2?
The kills coming for Western.
How does this happen?
Wow. Yeah.
Staggering
So
the
strong
D.Va makes a
peel.
lot of sense here. This is it might be a fried wiener situation, like I said. There you go.
Yup. There
Yep,
it goes.
okay.
Almost got the remake. Not in time though. And just like that, Western gonna get a bit more card progress here because
They did have to expend a lot of ults for that fight.
They did. It was in the face of a Juno ult, and Widener only really has bomb here, so it wasn't a bad decision by Western.
I don't need to replay on that. Go down.
Yeah.
Was it stickies
Justin,
or I don't know. Anyway.
I don't know. Losing sight of the map. And there's a D.Va bomb. The Orisa just tanks it. Gold is just different. Xiangfen finds Vestige, and just like that, Widener's down 2 players. Coming back on the Genji instead of the Echo. Widow fighting for his life on the cart. Venture up in the fray as well. And D.Va's getting burned. D.Va's demeched. Widener needs to reset real fast because they're just getting traded
I don't
on.
feel like they're gonna be able to.
Yeah, like it's just taking
Getting
an odd man
stalled.
fight. Oh,
1-1.
yeah.
There you go, and
Justin
then
goes
next
down.
is going to be
the Orisa
Juno,
dies for
and
Western
next is gonna
though.
be the Tracer, and they're going to be staggering onto that point for the entire rest of these 4 minutes.
Wow.
Especially into this ult pack. I feel like what's stopping Fastest Facts from just getting another aggressive beat going?
Dew is dead, so probably that, if I had to guess.
That
Dew
might
was
be
found,
it. Yeah, okay, I see
Yeah. Dew was found very late in that fight there. Right before the Genji was found. And I think that was very big for Widener. It stops Western. Oh, but he's right there!
Here we go.
Out of nowhere. The hero that Western needs. Deed is invested aggressively, as you were saying. Brandis puts that Hala. One magic mine goes down. Juno speared 1 HP, jumping off the map. Going out on their own terms. And then the rest of Widener's just dying on card here. Yeah, just only Diva left to get out. Ventral invested and window. Western's trying to end it early.
End it quick, get it over with.
Yeah, the Brig surviving on card. Widener once again taking odd man touches. They had a little bit more time before they needed
Did
to
not have an answer for the venture at the end of the day, and all Western has to say at the end of this point is Widener, I hardly know her.
Yeah, very strong showing from Western here. Clean 3-0, very quick 3-0 as well. That was a very
That's exactly what
fun
Western
game to
was
watch.
looking for.
Yeah,
They
and just like
avoided
that,
their
Western secures third seed and also prevents Ottawa from making it to playoffs. That is the end of their playoff run. They do not have agency, and they're cooked. And Widener will now be playing the first seed from the other East group. So best of luck to them.
Absolutely. I think they put up a good fight. I think they played well. I think they had a lot of smart ideas with their comps. I think their map picks made a lot of sense. But I think at the end of the day, they just didn't have an answer for the tempo that Western was putting out. I think they weren't able to stop Western from cutting off their rotates. I think they weren't able to effectively fight plan quickly enough to get their ults out early. I think Western was able to play the game their way the entire way through, and that's what cost Widener the game.
Yeah, and for Western, that was just playing first, finding the early picks when we really didn't expect to see any, and capitalizing on the mistakes that Widener made, like the Zarya rotation towards the end, and just engaging onto the backline. So yeah, well played to both teams, and Western walks
Absolutely.
away here with a 3-0.